more liberty. And the sister said something to the effect, let people be great. Let people be and be entrepreneurs and do what they want to do, and everybody gets the right to choose. Well, a slave does not get the right to choose. And that's really the thing that a lot of people don't understand. You don't get the right to choose when you're a slave. I'm not going to let nobody be happy being a slave around me. That's not the thinking of a free man. Not when you experienced true freedom and you know what that feels like. You know how crazy you got to be going to the other slaves and telling them to take risks so that they can experience true freedom, and they telling you, listen, I was happy here. No, you're not, because you don't even know how to experience true happiness, because happiness cannot be experienced in slavery. Not true. So at the end of the day, you can't be great being a slave at the same time. You have to choose one or the other, because there are no great slaves. There were no great slaves. And by that, I mean, it wasn't saying that there wasn't good people who were slaves, but to be great, either you had to die fighting for your freedom, you understand me? Which means you died a free man or woman. And that's the difference. Fighting for it, dying for it, living for it, being a contestant of it, right? Being an activist for your liberation. There were a lot of human beings that were on that plantation that did not die slaves because they chose to fight to be free. And in that fight to be free, you are no longer under the guidance of a master, no longer under the management of a master. In that moment, you are free, 100% free. And that's the difference. So, no, if you don't want to hear this sort of conversation, if you don't want to hear this talk, then just leave. But don't come in my atmosphere, whether it's on this social media platform and in real life, asking me to tone it down so that you can feel more comfortable on the plantation. Because that ain't going to happen. You understand me? I look around too much, man, and I ain't going to lie, sometimes I just get that feeling like no matter how much you can do, it won't be enough, right? Sometimes that feeling does overwhelm me and overtake me. And people ask me all the time, like, how can you know what you know about the world and not feel in a dark place, not feel like, there's no hope, right? But I never really get that feeling. It not completely. It comes and goes in a sense to where it's like, we see those who know it, we know play with the revolution, right? And we know we don't get enough help, not in the sense to create the type of change that we need to. We able to do just little small flickers of things, which at the same time is great. When you can help one human being, 2 human beings, 10 human beings get to freedom, that is great. Like Harriet Tubman didn't free thousands, right? Mentally, she did with her story after it was told hundreds of years later. You understand me? But during her actual time, she was only able to free tens of people. But the story reverberated, and look how many people can still analogize what she did to energize their own freedom and their own conquest towards freedom. So it's like, it's nothing wrong with starting with your fellow brother or sister and helping one of them. And some of us, we sometimes feel like we have to change everything all at once. You got to reach the whole world, and we got to see this change in our lifetime. And to be honest, that's a young man's game, right? Like when you're a young man, you feel like you can change the world in your lifetime. But I know for a fact that as I grow, into a new man, that is going to be a time where I settle for the wisdom of knowing that my life will be a product and an inspiration and a catalyst to the change that will happen, right, eventually. So you have to know how to be able to settle in those thoughts. Why is we looping this the third time?
The road is closed.
And that's important. That's why I fight for legacy, because I won't be able to see it all in my lifetime. I won't be able to see it all in my lifetime. The type of world that I want to see, I won't be able to see it all. You know? And you live a type of life sometimes, man, it feel like the more you help, the more you're judged. Because then people want you to help a certain type of way. The higher you get up in this game, people say, well, I like Keys, but I want Keys to do the type of help I want to see him do. Well, hey, brother, I'm glad you built up a platform. Now I need you to use your platform. No, you're doing great, you're doing good, but I need you to use it the way I would want you to use it. And then you become a slave to the movement again. You become a slave to something else. And it's like, that's not how this works. Because we don't appreciate what people do to assist and help and provide and add on. And what I learned is that people may mock your process, but they'll love your results. That as long as you're successful in what you do, everything in between that you had to do in order to get there will be forgiven. Because we are a short-tempered and a short memory people. We be angry in the short term, but in the long term, as long as you're successful, you gonna be all right. So I don't mind nobody disliking the movement and what I got going, say, how I may dress or talk or speak. But if my energy and life force add to a collective change for the future, man, I did my job. You know what I'm talking about? And that's all that matters. I did my job. But at the same time, I'm not gonna allow nobody to settle for comfortability on a plantation. I don't have that in me. I don't know how to do that. I'm always pushing people for their potential to become kinetic, because I hate to see people become complacent in their own godliness. You understand me? Like, a lot of people, they don't, if I can see the extent of where a person can go if they listen or discipline or focus themselves or hone in on that God light that they got, then I cannot be truly satisfied. And this is, whether this is a good or bad thing, I can't be truly satisfied, you understand me, with that person being around me until I see that person in full development of themselves. So I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna push you. You understand me? We pushing potential. You know what I'm talking about? And some people can't handle that when you push their potential. You understand me? And you see it for them. Because too many people want to be a part of a world that ain't worth shit. So your ambitions are connected to things that are worthless. So when I see people fighting for things that don't mean anything, I see a person that becomes a slave to the material world. And so if I'm a person that's trying to liberate the minds, liberate us in a manner, then that person is fighting against it. You the slave that don't want to leave the plantation. You understand me? And respectfully, you gotta go. Specifically from around me, because you gonna put me in danger. I'm gonna be wanting to go one direction, you go the other direction. I'm looking out for you, and then I might get caught up. So you gotta make sure you move with people and around people who are aligned with you. You understand me? And move like you and believe like you and think like you. You understand me? And let everybody else that want to be attached to this funky, weak-ass world and these weak-ass industries and these weak-ass things, you understand me, that we make our dreams when we literally can build our own. You understand me? Like, that's the thing. I ain't just telling y'all that, hey, fuck these things. Like, no, I'm saying, like, yo, we really got ways that we can strategize ourselves out of those things and live an even better quality of life. A higher standard of life. And that's what I love the most. Like, bro, we got options, B. Like, what we talking about here? Like, that's what I'm talking about. We got options. So for us to take the weakest route and for us to buy into the dreams of other people's dreams, because that was this girl dream, and oh, I want to aspire to be like her, and I want to follow that archetype. Well, this was his brother dream. I want to be like him and follow his archetype. And these are connected to white masters and subserviency, right, to these institutions. That shit don't mean nothing to me. So I see too many black people with white dreams. That's just a fact. Well, how do you know if you got a white dream? Well, it's connected to the whole Eurocentric system. If it requires you to appease a Eurocentric system, it's a white dream. If your dream ain't connected to appeasing God, it ain't a black dream.